and see if it comes down, but you don't know if it will.
The only thing I'm thinking about it, it's terrible. Just even think this way, but it's somebody else's money, but yet I want to be a guardian of someone else's money, but whatever. At least now I've got to do the thing that I could do, and that is do a little price shopping.
Yeah. Mr. Eggy's good at that. He always goes, I find something I want to buy, and he goes on, always finds it cheaper somewhere. So, but now everything's gone a little crazy price wise.
Are you getting a printout on your screen and we are being recorded?
I saw that and I just hit continue. So I figured, I was hoping you wouldn't say anything that you didn't want to have recorded.
I haven't yet, and I'm not worried about it. Paula will find her way through it to get down to where the meat is.
Yeah, she's good. She's very good.
Are you talking about, did I miss something?
Oh, he was complimenting you, Paula.
Oh, can I get that in writing?
Yeah, he said, you get down to the meat of things or something. It sounded like a compliment. I got on early because I can never figure out how to do it. So I thought I better just try early.
Anyhow, we're being recorded, Paula, but we're being good. We haven't said anything bad words.
No cussing so far. We've been very good.
Excellent. Excellent. I appreciate your discretion.
You're welcome.
Gives you a chance to regulate the audio.
I'm sorry, what?
It gives you a chance to regulate the audio when people are talking. You know whether they're turning up or down or sideways. I'm going to turn mine down for a fact. So, we got only two. That is not, no, we only got, yeah, we got two. Oh, here comes my compadre. Compadre, you want to get your picture taken up. I got a cat that every time I come in, she has to walk out here and get situated on the windowsill so that she can watch outdoors and be here. And so now that's where she is. So, we got to have a few more. Oh, there's a body.
Yeah.
Forrest,
Yes.
this is Paula. Would you please pronounce your last name for me again? I worry that I'm butchering it.
Yeah. Do you need me to like pronounce it or type it out for you?
Pronounce it.
Ercole.
Ercole. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
But make that crazy thing go away. Hi, Doug.
The thing says to restart your backup or something. If you record, it takes a I'm just trying to get rid of it. That little thing. If I hit pick a time or snooze. Is it snooze? Is that going to get rid of everybody? Oh, thank you. Okay. We're going to get something in the mail for Brian.
got real close to the start time here, Paula. I'm Paula. Dawn. I have a new face on my screen. Descension. How is the name?
Bob, that's the applicant, one of the applicants for application number 2.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Where he came in, but he's welcome. He's very welcome.
Right, scam call. Usually there's a name.
Doug, are you getting online?
I believe he is. Chair McNary,
Yes.
Commissioner Gleason said he would probably be absent today.
Oh, okay. Well, then we probably don't need to wait for that. So I guess Julie is coming in. No, that isn't Julie. Green's filling up.
McNary,
Good.
Chair McNary,
Yeah.
that's Alice Cannon. She's the new director of the Community Development Department. I think you met her once before.
I was gonna say, I thought we briefly passed pictures, maybe is what I was saying. We can't touch hands or anything, but we might have passed pictures somewhere through here. Maybe I did stop in your office when I was in signing papers. I can't remember. I remember meeting you somewhere.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm going to say, let's call this meeting to order. And Paula, will you take a roll call?
Bev Aggie,
Present.
Forrest Ercole,
Present.
Eric Gleason is absent, Doug Leash,
Present.
Bob McNary,
Here.
Julie Reynolds,
Present.
and Scott Randall is absent.
We have a quorum. So,
We do.
yes. So we will go from there to the Pledge of Allegiance. And Paula, I see a picture here with the flag on it. I don't see your lovely face in the picture, but we do have an American flag up in the far right corner. So we can use it. And would you like to lead us today, Doug, again? I haven't heard you talk, so I'm hoping your audio is working. Okay.
Okay.
Are you there, Doug?
Did you say Doug?
Are you there? I wanted to
Yes,
hear-
I am.
Would you like to lead us in the pledge today?
That would be fine. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of the
of
United States of America and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which
for which
it
it stands,
one nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with justice and liberty for all.
Thank you. I kind of broken up with the Zoom program. I don't know just how to improve on that, but we'll think about it. Has anybody, I mean, I hope everyone, not anybody, hope everyone's had a chance to read the agenda. And is there any changes to the agenda that anyone would like to make? Hearing none, I would like to ask for one of the commissioners to make a motion that we approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second the motion.
We can move it. There we go. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Going on from there, we'll approve the minutes of the May 26th, 2001. Hope all people have read it, looked it over with a fine-tooth comb, and I will entertain a motion to approve or correct or whatever is necessary.
Oh, shit. Oops. Michael, I just pushed something I shouldn't have.
We heard that, Doug.
I pushed that to increase the volume and it didn't what it did.
We'll wait for you, Dave. Doug.
Sorry about that. There we go.
There.
Where's the
Now you-
volume on that? Oh, it's on top.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
Bev, you want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
yeah.
Okay, I'll try. I make a motion to approve the minutes as they stand.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and it's been seconded. So all in favor say aye.
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 I,
Thank you. Now, we have conquered those little problems. And now we're down to the public comment. And this is for anyone that wants to comment on any subject that is not on the agenda for this evening. And so it's kind of an open forum. If you see something that you want to talk about historically that would be of interest, it's your opportunity. And seeing no volunteers jumping forward, we will go on to the staff comments. What?
But this isn't that interesting, but our little 4th Street, the people that have fixed up old houses, we call ourselves the Fools of 4th Street. It's kind of a loosely organized group of us. Anyway, there's a little bit of action here. Victor Johnson, who has the house just down from us, can't even say the name of it right now because of my senior moment, but he's finished the paving behind his Herbling house. It just came, and a fireplace. So that's coming along. He's ready to, that's almost there. And then Tom Peterson and his wife Peggy bought the old rectory next to St. Peter's Landmark, and they're fixing that up. So that's quite exciting. They're a great addition to our neighborhood. And Shannon's Ice Cream down on 4th Street, they qualify as schools because they fixed up that little cottage across from the Civic
Good, baby.
Auditorium. So there's all kinds of interesting action. And my friend Alexandra, who bought the English cottage house on the corner of 6th and 4th, has just painted that. She's going to repaint the door a different color, but it's looking pretty good. So there's a little bit of action in the 4th Street downtown.
I'm very sorry with my hearing and the audio coming through. I really didn't understand much of that. I'm sorry.
Well, it was really brilliant and well explained. So just a bit of local news on my street is all.
Someone else like to comment on this? If you're giggling as though you understand it.
I just want to say, definitely try out that Shannon's Ice Cream, I believe it is, that just opened. That stuff is fabulous. I mean, she's just serving Tillamook, but if you can get her homemade stuff, that stuff is the gold.
Okay. All right. Any further comment now? The staff. We got staff comments at this point.
Thank you, Chair McNary. I actually just want to do a quick rundown of the status of our State Historic Preservation Office grant that we received, our historic preservation funds. We are working on completion of the walking tour for our AutoCast walking tour app. And we have Carl Verkuterin, who is assisting us in terms of the narratives that will go along with that walking tour. Carolyn Wood, who is a former city councilor and local historian, will also be editing or is in the midst of editing. So that will be, the walking tour will be coming live mid-July. And then in terms of the coffee table book, that is, they're still working on the foreword right now and design layout for the pages. That will also be mid-July. I'll be sending you guys all an email with just to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at, just to kind of play around with the app. Pioneer Cemetery was cleaned up prior to Memorial Day, and I believe they did have a service up there. I'm not sure how big of a service, but it was cleared. And that's all I have for you for today.
Thank you very much. Anyone got a question of Dawn on any of that staff report?
Nope.
All right, we'll go now for the individual commissioners. And Bev, come on back. I'm having a little trouble understanding you, but you come on back and tell us anything that happened in your life as far as the Landmarks Commission is concerned.
Well, I just mentioned just some business on our 4th Street, the Fools of 4th Street. And did anyone understand what I said? That Victor Johnson's paving, and he's gonna have like music and sell ice cream and tea and things, and he's going to do wedding receptions connected to the landmark. So that's kind of coming along really well. And Tom Peterson bought the rectory next to St. Peter's, and he's fixing that up and doing some nice things, putting in new landscaping, and they're going to paint around the windows and do some bits and pieces. And it's just a lot of pride in the community. And Shannon's ice cream, I don't know, it's looking like there's a lot of people becoming historical fools that take on these old projects and make it better down here in the Trevitt edition.
Thank you.
Could you hear me, Bob?
Somewhat.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't know where it is. It's high pitched. And that's one of my very weaknesses. Get you to speak like me, grumbling, and then I can probably understand you. Morris, how about you? You got something to report?
Unfortunately, I don't have anything this week. I was out of state most of this last month, so nothing that I've caught wind of.
Okay, well, you still haven't got with Eric probably to talk about the drugstore.
No, I need to get him that email still.
Keep us up on that, because it's something that we need to be informed about as we go along here. Something might happen quickly there, and I'm worried about it. Doug?
Alan Aggie and I worked on the landmarks and cleaning up some brush and stuff. The new cooling system isn't in yet. So they started working on it yesterday, but it's not completed yet. So it's pretty hot in there.
Okay, well, I have nothing at this point that I can think of that I don't know if Bev's telling us about the new ice cream shop or not, but that is probably what I made thinking about. 4th Street has got things happening on, and some of them are outside of the building, but most of them I think are inside. But there's always seemed to be a carpenter out on the sidewalk somewhere with the power tools shortening up boards. So I figure they're doing something along 4th Street with those old historic homes. I don't know, Don. Not many of them are plaqued, but are they listed on our register at all? The houses on 4th Street?
So some are locally landmarked. Where Bev and Alan Aggie live, it is actually an extension of Trevitt's historic district. So that is actually part of the historic district. Shannon's ice cream is not included. It is actually locally, I believe it's locally landmarked. And it's right across the street from the Civic Auditorium, which is a national landmark and part of our commercial historic district. So we do have some properties, but not all.
Thank you. All right. Now, we go to a public hearing, and I've got a few pieces of paper. We have a public hearing, HLC 188-21, Tom Todd, Carpenter, and Carla. What, Quad? Is that close? 213 East 2nd Street. And I will read the rules and regulations for a public hearing. Now is the time for, specifically for the Historic Landmark Commission to conduct a public hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to consider the following matter, and I've already described it, sir. HLC 188-21, Todd Carpenter and Carla McQuad, and it's at 3213 East 2nd Street. The substantial criteria upon which the Historic Landmark Commission will base its decision on this matter are contained in the city comprehensive plan and land use and development ordinance. The public hearing is required by law and certain rules apply. First and foremost, you must be recognized by the chair in order to speak and present testimony. When recognized by the chair, please approach the microphone and state your name and mailing address for the record. This hearing is required by law to be tape recorded. Generally, the public hearing procedure is as follows. So I get it out of my book. Prior to the public hearing, a determination will be made of the qualification of the commission members and allow for challenges from the audience. We will get back to that in a moment. I will open the public hearing with a staff report. Purpose of the staff report at this point is to further identify the acceptable criteria of the case being considered and to provide background information about the case. After the staff report, we will hear testimony from the proponents, those persons in favor of the application. Next, there will be a testimony from the opponents, those not in favor of the application. Next, there will be a testimony from anyone who wishes to offer testimony or ask questions. Then, in honor of the right to rebuttal, we will again hear from those in favor of the application. To expedite the hearing, the commission members may ask questions of the person as they testify. When the process has been concluded, we will close the public testimony portion of the hearing. During the hearing, some important standards apply. First of all, those who testify must hold their testimony to the decision criteria, as in all land use rule hearings, there are a complete set of rules, procedures, and criteria we must follow. Second, failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the commission members and the parties to an opportunity to respond to that issue precludes an appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Third, the failure of an applicant to raise constitutional or other issues related to the proposed conditions of approval with details specific enough to allow the city to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in the circuit court. Fourth, prior to the conclusion of the public hearing, all applicants may request an opportunity to present further evidence, arguments, or testimony regarding the application. If such a request is made, the law states that the commission must grant that request by either continuing the hearing to a time and date at least 7 days from the date of the initial hearing, or the record must be kept open for a period of at least 7 days. Now, those are the rules. And then I'm going to jump ahead here someplace. There we go. We'll figure out our credentials right now. Is any member of the commission had any ex parte contact, conflict of interest, or bias which would not allow them to render an impartial decision on this matter? Bell?
Nope.
Bob, no. Where are we, Forrest?
Nope.
Todd? Not Todd. Doug?
I'm good.
Thank you. We got over that. Now, is there anyone in the audience that would like to challenge the qualifications of the members of this commission? Hearing none. The public hearing is now open, and we are ready for the staff report from Don. Thank you, Don. Go.
Thank you, Chair McNary. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. And so we can actually take a look at the slideshow. Okay, share. So I'm going to do. Okay. Here we go. Okay. As Chair McNary stated, this is application HLC number 188-21. Applicant is Todd Carpenter and actually Carla McQuaid. Address is 213 East 2nd Street here in the Dalles. We're very familiar with this building. There's an old photo of the recreation, a little artsy on it. Vicinity Map, we're all aware, all the commissioners are aware, as we've reviewed this application a few times or reviewed some reiterations of this application. Located just around the corner from City Hall, located in our the Dalles Commercial Historic District. Existing conditions of the recreation, I was able to take a couple photos today. Many of you probably do recall that we had a major storm event a few years ago, which then basically damaged the building beyond repair, and the plans had to definitely change, and that was in 2018. The viability of the structure was unknown. Then an engineering report was detailed or provided that talked about stabilizing the building as well as provide plans for reconstruction. Back in 2020, the Historic Landmark Commission approved application number 177-20 to make modifications to the building facade. So let's give you a couple pictures or photos here you can take a look. So existing conditions, that was the front, that's a current front, and this is the current rear of the actual building here. The proposal that the applicant had provided, and this is a little bit more detail, typically, or at least the Historic Landmarks role in review is dealing with historic exteriors. So your review is limited to that. However, the applicant has been working with our Urban Renewal Agency and is looking at or talking about some of the reuse. So this proposal was prepared by the applicant and provided to the Urban Renewal Agency. So I went ahead and incorporated it in here because we all like to know what's going on in our historic districts. So their proposal includes engineering and building basically a false facade to blend in with the other historic buildings that will meet their requirements, not only of our Historic Landmark Commission, as well as a grant that they received from Main Street. Their plan is to also create an interior open area for music, events, and dining. And that interior space would have gas pits, a stage, refreshments, bar area, and maybe a dance floor. Interior may be partially covered at a later time with radiant heat sources. And the basement level will continue to be used for family-friendly space, arcade, mini golf, bowling, and a recreation area. And possibly decorate interior walls with some of the elements that we have in our historic downtown, including the recreation letters that may end up going on the wall. So just in a nutshell, what that actually means, what they're looking to do is not replace the roof and keep it open air. And I just want to be really honest, when I first heard it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that just sounds odd. But a couple of the examples that they provided made me think, you know what, this could be really cool. And some of you may be familiar with our Clint's Annex building. And this kind of reminds me a little reminiscent of that breezeway, or the breezeway antiques, which used to be the Clint's breezeway, and it had the open air feel between the buildings. So here's an example that the applicant has provided. It's called the Barrel Room. It's in downtown Portland, and it's a similar situation where there would be a facade of a building, of an existing building, to blend with the adjacent historic buildings, and then have an open air feeling, so that all the area in between is actually open to open air. So here's another example, a little less historic looking, but this kind of gives you an idea of the open air with the walls. So they would use existing walls that surround the perimeter, especially on the back, and have an open air seating, outdoor seating area. So back in 2020, this was what the Historic Landmark Commission originally approved, which was providing a facade of a building to blend with the existing businesses or buildings adjacent to. And this is the actual new design. So the applicant has hired LRS Architecture, and Byron was able to prepare something with a facade that has a little bit more of an architectural feature that blends well, but also matches what was there before. I just did this so you guys could actually see the difference between what you approved in 2020 compared to what is being proposed today. Just wanted to show you some of these cool historic photos just to kind of get an idea. So this area here, here's the Bank Hotel, which is the, the Last Stop Saloon now, but this would be the area. Another different view looking west. Look at those, I gotta look at those cars. Look at those cars, aren't those cool? I will say that's what I love about historic photos is looking at the cars. That kind of gives you an idea. And then obviously this was an original or early recreation, and you still saw the old Columbia Theater that was there. But this is the block or the section of the area that they're going to be working. And some of you may remember or recall some of the, Byron was able to do a montage of some of the historic buildings that existed in that place. So taking a look at the old undertakers, carpets, and furniture, well, it's kind of a blend. That's an interesting blend of uses, but that's what they have somewhat followed is that design. Again, we don't review interiors of buildings, but I wanted to go ahead and share with you just because we do want to know what's going on in our historic districts, what some of the layouts or proposed interiors will potentially look like for design. So outdoor living area, here is 2nd Street. It would just have the entrance here. This has an existing wall in the back, and then possible stage, dining areas. And then here's another option, very similar, just this one has a dance floor. So I don't know, I think I like this one better, but I don't have any bias there. Okay. So in terms of review, there was one thing that I did not detail, and that was regarding materials. The applicant has provided information detailing either wood and or a stucco for the building. And what I would suggest is that we, obviously have Todd's here today. He'll go ahead and explain what his proposal is, but it's something that the Planning Commission, or excuse me, Historic Landmark Commission may want to weigh in and give some direction in terms of, do you want to see stucco siding, or would you rather see wood siding on this historic facade improvement? So that is all I've got for you on this. So if you have, I'll go ahead and stop sharing.
I wanted to ask the chair and Dawn whether I could speak now for a quick minute.
Sure.
Okay, Chair McNary and members of the commission, we are in an agreement with Mr. Carpenter and Ms. McQuaid, and really excited about the progress they're proposing to make. And they tell us they're going to have the storefronts ready by the end of this calendar year, which is pretty wonderful. We're excited about it, and we've been working together very well. I really would like you to weigh in on the final, getting some definition of those materials on both at the ground level and at the second level. The elevations didn't define that today, and that was something I brought up at the Urban Renewal Board meeting, that I wanted to see that defined. So I would really like you to ask for that and get it illustrated in your conditions of approval. So with that, I will stop talking, but thank you very much.
Don't frame me. I'd say thank you. But where are we going from here now?
So do the commissioners have any questions for staff?
No.
Hearing no questions from staff, I guess now is the time that we talk to Mr. Todd. We're getting kind of accustomed to talking to him. Good to see you again, Todd.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you guys. Todd Carpenter, 216 East 5th Street, The Dalles, Oregon, 97058. That's for Dawn, or whoever's taking notes, I guess. Carla's not going to be here today. She's in Beaverton taking care of our places up there. So, but yeah, I'm here to answer any questions. I would like to say, though, on the materials issue right now, it's very difficult to get materials, all kinds, and I do not have any bids on stucco cement yet. I've asked for them. we're looking for vendors. And so I know Alice really wants to see that as a thing, but I would hate to get, I mean, I'd like to get it approved, but that's what we would prefer if you guys want that. But I'd hate to get stuck there and then not be able to meet our deadlines. So if we could do wood or stucco, that would be great, with a stucco preference, if that's what you prefer. Whichever way you prefer, I'm okay with. But yeah, so we intend to basically, continue with the facade on the front, the upgrade. I've got, as Alice said, we have 2 permits ready to go from both city and county. I'm getting final bids here from contractors on the 2 east buildings. And we were kind of trying to figure out what to do with that, the west side building, because it was, the roof was a shock, and it's a very, very expensive and long build out. And with the pandemic and everything, we thought, boy, it's an opportunity to make the main street functional and I guess COVID friendly, if you will, having an outside event area with the false front. We're going to continue the family friendly recreation downstairs below, and I've actually got brand new plans that just came to me a couple of days ago that we're going to, after you guys tell us what you want us to do, we're going to discuss with the city and the county. We're kind of ready for, we're all actually already almost ready for permits for the third building, which is kind of exciting. So assuming everybody likes it. So I'll take any questions you guys want. I'm happy to talk about it.
Is brick an option? Because I'm just looking at the surrounding buildings and it looks like most of them are brick.
Yeah, so there was no brick historical elements on the building at all, except for there's some brick on the top floor of the middle building, but I don't think that's part of this. I may come back with that middle building because, Dawn will have to tell me what she saw in the original approval from HLC, but it's got some stucco elements. And what I remember from the historical, the HLC last time was that they said they would do either or. Again, we'd like to kind of keep some of the historical elements, but sorry, for the west side building, there is no historical elements, and brick really isn't an option on that side.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Doug, if you got any questions, you're a downtown person. You've seen a lot for a long time down there.
I guess I'd be kind of at a quandary of I hadn't really thought about the material for the front. It's true, there's more brick on each side than anything else. Without going down and looking at it or looking at more pictures, I'd have a hard time saying which. It could be, Todd, you're talking about a combination of maybe brick or rock, stucco and wood, and something like that maybe would work. I haven't looked closely at that, so don't have a strong opinion on it, I guess.
So we're talking about wood on the lower level, and then the facade that kind of above the doors and windows would be a matching color stucco / cement, stucco cement, whatever that material is that they use here in the Dalles in the, I guess, the 20s and 40s. I think it's similar to what's on City Hall, on the north side of City Hall building.
Right, they call it actually shotcrete is what they
There you
call
go,
it.
shotcrete.
Yeah, it's kind of weird name, but same thing, is similar to stucco.
Yeah, Byron said it's pretty prevalent in downtown 2nd Street buildings.
Is that what's on the Granada with the brick? Is that kind of like the shotcrete that's with it? That's the beige color?
I think that, I'm not sure what's on the Granada.
It could be, I'd have to take a look at it, but like Todd said, Byron is correct. There are quite a few buildings in downtown that have shotcrete over it, and it's kind of like an exterior lath is what it is. So like old lath and plaster walls, it's basically brick, and then the lath that goes over it, which is concrete base, and they shoot it out of a gun now. It's kind of cool to watch, but
Todd. My friend Alexandra that bought the English cottage house on 4th and 6th. She just painted it, but they did a lot of repair work, and it was Isaac Painters. They painted our house. She's very skilled at finishing, and I think that's a stucco finish. It's a cement type deal, and they were pretty fantastic doing all the cracks and repairs there. Maybe they can do it from the get-go. I don't know. It'd be a question to ask. I know they've been working on a lot of historic houses in town with the painting, and with our old house, the Ben Snipes house, they were really good at repairing bits that were just, they went in and just did a marvelous job. And they're reasonable, so it might be worth asking. Isaac Painting.
Yeah. Okay, I took a note of that. Thank you. So I just want to make sure you guys understand there are no historical elements on that west side building. It is fir framed, 100% up and down. So any stucco, cement, quickcrete, what'd you call it, Dawn? I'm sorry, quickcrete or something, shotcrete?
Shotcrete.
That would be new material. It wouldn't be repairing any historical elements or anything. So anything we do on the front of that building is going to be new to look like old.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, they tore it completely apart in 1949. It looks like reframed everything.
So Chair and Mr. Carpenter, for my purposes, I guess as a representative of the owner, the Urban Renewal Board, is making a commitment to having wood on the ground level. I really like what you did on the front of the last stop. That's great. The wood on the front is very, very nice there. And then the second level that is acceptable to the board would be fine with me. And I think it represents what you had presented to the Urban Renewal Board as well. So.
I guess I would say too, Todd, that I like the second design better than the original one. It looks a lot like one of those pictures that were shown with the bump up on the two side-by-side buildings.
Yeah, Byron does a good job with the architectural stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little confused here in a sense. East of where you're going to develop is where the arches are from one of the old theaters. There's 3 arches up there, Gothic arches. Are they the ones we're talking about coming completely down?
Well, no. So those are so that's why I may have to come back. We're talking about the building to the west of that, where the old arch was. Yeah.
That's why I'm confused. I keep looking for the dividing line is at the edge of the old recreation.
Yeah. So yes, just the bowling side, correct.
I'm caught up to speed that far. I'm not doing well, but I caught up to speed quite on that. So then you will have to come back at another time to decide what we do with the next group.
Well, we've already got approved. You guys have already approved. The original approval had the 2 east buildings as a wood facade all the way up and down. We did or brick. So I probably need to have a deeper conversation with Dawn on that, but I'd kind of, it's not part of this thing, but you guys asked to retain, boy, Dawn, I don't even know if we want to get into this conversation right now. You guys asked to retain elements, historical elements, if we could. I think we can, but I probably need to have a further, deeper conversation with Dawn on the exterior of that middle building.
Right. Sorry. So what the Historical Landmark Commission had approved previously was that center building that actually does stand a little taller. Like Todd stated earlier, there is some remnants of brick of that building that are still remaining. And as you had asked, and as he is planning, he's hoping to retain and restore some of that original building material.
And the upper level of that building is I missed it again. It's quick. The middle level of that building is same quickcrete stuff. It's painted green right now, or turquoise. I think Dawn has a picture of that actually. She flashed up there.
Okay. Is there any further questions of the applicant by the commission members?
Well, just to clarify, Todd, I have two pictures. I have the original approval and the new design. Is that the drawing of that? Is that just the building to the west?
Correct. That's the west building only. So it'll be, yeah, so this is the picture right here I was talking about. So if you see, if you can,
Yes.
where the green turquoise is, that's that same concrete mixture. And then obviously there's still 70s historical elements up the top. I really feel like we could blend, we could paint that upper level and retain that look. This is what I need to talk to Dawn about. And then retain the quickcrete, paint the quickcrete of kind of a matching color with wood underneath. And I'll do that, talk to her about that later. But if we did that, then we would be extending that green area, that quickcrete area over that bowling alley area. So it would kind of match the new that we'd be putting in for that false front of the old bowling alley rec center, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And yeah, so this is the new, basically the new design. It's really a false facade with 2 entries, a bunch of windows, and then behind that is all. There's about 20 feet of roof, and then it opens up inside in the interior to the outside, and we we'd bring the outside inside basically.
I guess my main concern would be is that there's 3 buildings there. The center one has those arches that they were compatible visually. That we wouldn't try necessarily to save something like the arches up above if it was totally inconsistent with what you did on either side.
Yep.
They need to blend some way or another.
Yep, I agree. I have a plan to blend this all in. Again, I think I need to talk to Don a little bit about it. I know we're not this again, Don, this is not the topic, but the original thing that you guys approved was, wood framed and retain historic elements where we could. And so I just need to have a conversation with Don and say, do you want me to rip all this off and do wood? Or do we want to retain some of this historic element stuff on the top 2 floors in the middle building? I can go either way. I mean, I think that we can make it blend and look really nice. I like the wood look personally, but I'm not opposed to doing that. But I'm permitted and ready to go too. So I'd like to keep those 2 buildings in the framework of the original HLC and just have a conversation with Dawn and make sure that she's comfortable with what I'd like to do. And if not, we can certainly bring it back in a month. We got to pour retaining walls in the 2 east side buildings. That's 30 days of cure, 2 weeks of, 2 weeks to do. So we're 6 weeks before we can even start framing in the facades on those 2 east buildings. So we have some time to talk about that if we want to change it up a little bit.
Right. So, sorry. So this, just to kind of clarify, this is basically dealing with this section here, which is between the last stop and, so the Historic Landmark Commission had approved the entire street frontage. So this is a modification just to this one section, and for it to be open air and to modify this facade a little bit.
I have a question. On the open air aspect, from the pictures that you had it as examples, they just had open windows and an open arch and door. Would you have it closed off with doors and windows, or would it be open like that?
No, it would be just like the picture. It would be a wood front with wooden doors and windows, similar style to what we have at Last Stop on the doors and windows. So wood, it'd be all natural woods and.
It sounds a bit safer for, for the clothes and things.
Yeah.
So it was just an odd thought I just had.
I mean, I really like that look, but I didn't think anybody would go for it in the town. So.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah. So originally, this is kind of what I was thinking of, and I actually talked. Is Eric here today? I actually talked to Eric, and I said, "Do you think this would fly?" And he goes, "I don't know. What about a false front?" And I hadn't even thought about a false front. And then I talked to Alice about it, and I had known about this, but Alice had some ideas of some places in Portland that were similar. So I just asked the architect to go ahead and design it as a false front that looked historic. Like, since there's no historical elements at all on this building, we want to make it. We told the state for the grant that we were doing 3 historic street side elevations or 4 storefronts. And so we would have to modify the grant if we didn't do this. And I thought this committee would probably want to retain the historic, nature of this block. So.
Another, Todd, if it's okay, I do want to just share an idea that you and I spoke about, and that is he has this vision of preserving the recreation letters or the recreation building sign inside the space. And then the Urban Renewal Agency owns the Tony's building, and Mr. Carpenter, Ms. McQuaid are interested in maybe taking those signs and placing them on the inside of this space as well, and using them as historical signs in that. And I just think it's a wonderful idea. It's not anything that you regulate because it's inside, so to speak, but I'm excited about the idea of preserving some of our history.
I think it's a great idea too, for whatever it's worth.
Well, we're obviously really excited about it. I mean, if there's some leniency that you guys could give, Don and Byron know each other pretty well, and Byron is real. But we selected Byron because it took a local person a long time, and it was kind of out of their element. Byron has been really active in the community with historic buildings. And if we can just have Don and Byron talk about the best things to do in blending that middle building and everything with the historical elements, I mean, I think we can I'm hoping that we can get this done, the first quarter of next year, all 3 buildings. I'm shooting for November for the 2 east buildings. And then this one, I'm hoping we can get, like I said, we'll get permits in this next month and have them issued in another month or month and a half. And then we're right behind doing, this building right after the other 2 are completed, which is about a 4-month timeline right now.
So Chair McNary, I want to assure the commission that as you are all aware, any approvals that are received by the Historic Landmark Commission, I follow to the letter. We do allow for slight modifications to an existing approval. So that is what Mr. Carpenter is talking about is there, in terms of, is what he's looking at doing considered as minor modification? And if it is, then I would probably just work with Alice and make a decision. And if it's more than a minor modification, then it would have to come back before you, which is why we're here for this one.
Well, I'm feeling much more comfortable now that I got myself orientated which building this is in relation to the ones that are there. And I can see the problem of blending them together, Todd. It just looks like they're individual projects and they don't fit together at all. It's the way I first looked at it. But now you have given me a ray of hope that you can incorporate the one building that does seem to have some historic look to it yet. But I hope they're luck in blending it all together. I'll go back and ask my question again. Is there any more comments, any more questions from Todd before we close the public hearing?
I have one more little question that's not directly related to the historical part, but who's going to be cleaning this area and who's going to be maintaining it? Who has the lock and keys to it? Who's going to be in charge of it? Is that going to be falling under Parks and Rec because now it's like a little indoor park, or what would it do?
No, we're the developers, and the building's gonna, assuming we do everything we say we're gonna do, it becomes our property once it's completed. And our intention, the usage for it, our intention is to use it between. So Carla's got the middle building is going to be, her plan is an old fashioned ice cream candy shop, 20s, 40s style. I'm not sure where she's at. That's not my Ballywick, it's hers. But it would be a common use between Last Stop and that facility for outdoor seating. And we'd run special events probably and things, on the weekends for the music area. And then somehow we're going to incorporate a recreation facility downstairs for families. So, but it would be retained by us. It's kind of a tough project too. I mean, we can't really, divide it up and sell it individually anyways, and nobody was going to want to take it because it's 3 buildings, but it's really a lot of shared space, unfortunately. Tried to look at how we could divide it back up, how it originally was, but they've, in the 50s when they remodeled this, late 50s, I guess, they really tore into it and sort of chopped it up for use between the buildings. So we're actually having a very difficult time sort of engineering and architecting a building that's fire rated and all that, has all the bells and whistles for the new codes and everything. So no, yes, to answer your question, it will be us.
Thank you.
Yep, sorry. That was a long explanation.
I guess I would tend to trust Brian and Dawn to oversee the compatibility and watch that. I'm pretty confident that they, with you, of course, Todd, that come up with something that blends and looks good.
Well, at this point, I'm going to close the public hearing unless I hear another question, and we will go back and deliberate as commission members. Talking to you, Forrest, I know it's a difficult where we draw the line, but I believe our jurisdiction pretty well ends on the visual end of it from the street. When you're looking at it from the sidewalk or out in the middle of the street, wherever you want to stand, that's about as far as our jurisdiction goes. And it's been beautiful that he's given ideas of what he's going to do with the interior. And I think that's wonderful what he is attempting to do. But we don't, unless I'm wrong, Don, we don't have much say on that.
Correct.
So, it was just a concern of mine that we have a nice blocky type construction going up against a building that is going to be 2 or 2 stories at least high, being a whole story higher than what we have here, and how they would blend those together to make them look like they at least knew who each other was. But I'm satisfied. And as far as, I don't know if Don will tell me, do we have to make a separate motion at the end of this to give you the authority to make minor modifications on, or do we accept it with that part of the conditions of approval?
So correct. Any minor modification is identified in the guiding ordinance for your commission. So we do have a description as to what it can be. Typically minor would be, it wouldn't, I mean, my material is going to be pretty major. So if you are feeling very strong about wood on the main floor, which it sounds like Mr. Carpenter wants to do that, then I think we should probably state that as a condition of approval. If you are feeling very strong about wood on the second or stucco on the second story, I think we should go ahead and add that as a condition of approval. If you want to, I mean, I guess we could word it where it's going to be wood or stucco, but I mean, it's kind of, you know, I'd like to get your preference as to what option you would prefer, and that we include that as a COA.
Okay. Any other comments amongst the staff? I mean, amongst the commissioners? Are you ready for a motion to be made, or would someone like to make the motion if we approve or disapprove or modify?
Well, I think we'd have to add our conditions of approval now before we go to approval of it.
So let me go ahead and share my screen and show you the existing conditions, and then I actually have typed one up, but it's obviously it's what you want. So let me go ahead and do that for you so you can see. Oops, I think I hit the right one. Sorry about that. Okay, are you able to see? Let's see. Okay. So here's the conditions. See, I did have 11 conditions of approval, and what I have typed out, which again, this is your decision. I put the new building facade materials will be required to be wood on the main floor and stucco on the second story. So again, if this is not what you want, I can go ahead and change that. You know, we can modify it any way you'd like.
Were we settling on the term stucco, or was shotcrete more appropriate?
We could change that to shotcrete to make sure that it's correct or is accurately reflected. Oops, sorry. Woo! Jumping to Mr. Johnson already. Sorry.
Back up. There you go. Don't confuse it. I will make a motion that we approve HLC 188-21 with the 12 conditions of approval. 12 conditions of whatever we call them. Recommendations, okay? Conditions of approval. That's what they are. Okay. I make the motion.
Second it.
Did someone second that? I didn't hear that.
I did.
Oh,
Bev did.
Bev did. Now we're up down to any further discussion amongst the commission members on this proposal. And if I hear none, I'm going to call for a vote on historic landmark review 188-21 with the 12 conditions of approval. All in favor, say aye.
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 Or Doug?
Aye.
Oh, good. Paula, did you get a vote?
Chair McNary, are you in favor as well?
Pardon?
Are you in favor as well?
Okay. So, this,
Chair McNary,
yes, I have approved. I voted.
thank you.
So that one is passed. We will come back at a later date and do the resolution. Okay, whatever that. We'll get to it. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I'm gonna
Todd.
hang out. I'm gonna hang out and listen if that's okay.
All right, now I'm gonna get my paper clip lined up here. I'll hit the next condition. We have had no additions to our group, so I am not going to read the rules or regulations for the hearing, other than to say this discussion will go for the historic landmark review of 189-21, and it is for David and Kristen Jensen, and the address is 400 East 8th Street, and they want to replace 2 windows, basement windows. Staff, are you ready?
So Chair McNary, we need to make sure that we don't have any ex parte contact of any of the commissioners or biases.
Come back.
I need you to ask the commission if they have any biases or ex parte. Yes.
Okay, I forgot about that little detail. Is there any member of the commission that has any bias on their ability to render an impartial decision on this? What I want to use this landmark commission review of 189-21. Is there anyone that has a problem of any way, shape, or form?
No, sir.
Nope.
No,
I think we're all covered now again, Dawn. And I lost words there, but very unusual for me to lose words. But now, are we ready to go?
Go. Let's open the public hearing.
Okay, the public hearing is open.
Great.
And we are turning it over to staff to give us the staff report on this particular operation.
Thank you, Chair McNary, and thank you, commissioners. We do have the applicant, Mr. David Jensen, is here today, and thanks for hanging in there, David. We appreciate that. As you stated, Chair McNary, the application is HLC 189-21. The request is from David and Kristen Jensen to replace 2 basement windows with egress on the west face of their house. Property is located at 400 East 8th Street. Notification was sent out to property owners within 100 feet, State Historic Preservation Office, as well as local newspaper. As of the writing of this application, we did not receive any comments. So historic name of this house is the Ward Residence. It's, as you all may already know, Craftsman bungalows are my favorite housing stock that we have in this community, and this house truly is an exemplary bungalow. It utilizes many of our typical materials that are found for bungalow Craftsman style homes, and this house is in excellent condition. So the applicants are proposing to replace the 2 basement windows, and I believe, and I'll let Mr. Jensen explain a little bit more. Part of it is, I'm assuming that they'll be for living space down in the basement, as well as meeting egress requirements. Mr. Jensen is our Deputy Chief Chief. And so I do like it when people that buy historic homes that want to do historic upgrades or upgrades to them to meet historic guidelines. So existing conditions, as you can see, these window wells, they're pretty minimal, and they had small windows in the basement. So a couple photos of the existing window types with the mutton, as well as the details and trim on the historic building. So there's a little close-up of one of the windows in the basement. So obviously not meeting current egress requirements for building codes. So a little bit more design showing some examples that were provided. So the applicant went to Pella, and Pella does they do custom windows that actually are meant to be historically accurate or follow historic design guidelines. So these are the examples of the estimate that he was given. And so obviously you see there's a little bit deeper size. I'm gonna go back one screen, and they're gonna follow or replicate and be similar in style to those that are on his face of his house. Staff is recommending approval for this application with 4 conditions of approval. And do you have any questions of staff?
Help me. I couldn't figure out the word application for the life of me. So thank you. If anybody's got any further questions of Dawn, we will go to the applicant. David, I believe is your name. Is David that with us?
Yes.
Ah, no. Good to see you.
Thank
Now you can go ahead and tell us about all this. That's a beautiful house you have there. It's
Thank you.
very well landscaped and the whole thing. I didn't trespass today, but I stopped and looked over and said, I don't need to go up any further. I know everything is just the way it's supposed to be. So now I'll quit talking and you start.
Well, I've had 5 kids and they were all pulling trimming ivy the other day. So.
Excuse me, Mr. Jensen, I need you to state your address for the record.
Okay, 400 East 8th, the Dalles.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the basement of this house was once used as living space, but it was probably remodeled in the 70s, and it wasn't in a condition that it just needed to be fully remodeled. So when we did that, we've submitted applications to the county for modifying the layout down there, which would require egress windows. So to add the egress windows, then of course we already knew after talking to Don right before we even purchased the house that we were going to need something that was customized to meet the historical standards. And so it took a long time to find somebody that would make a custom window that would meet this standard, but we did. And so the windows that we've chose they will not expand the opening. They'll be custom sized for the opening, with the exception of obviously they'll go further down and be casement windows. So the trim on the outside will be the same trim that is on all of the other windows. And then on the inside, it'll be also the same as all the other windows throughout the house. And so there are no other windows in the house that are different than this style. So that's what our proposal is.
I did fail to add, David, that your application was wonderful. It was almost as exemplary as your house. So I was really, really impressed with the application submittal. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, David. Is there anyone that got a question of David before we go to asking for an opponent? I don't think I ever did ask for anybody on the last application, but do we have anybody that wants to ask questions to David? Now I'm going to ask for the opponents if they've got something they want to say, and I don't know where they would come from. Has there been any phone calls or anything of that nature, Don? So we're going to say that the opponents aren't too concerned. Any questions have any commissioners, I guess, Mr. Jensen?
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's probably there, and I apologize, and I'm pretty sure when you said it's historically correct, the material is wood, right? Because I know when we changed some windows at Trevitt House, it was really hard to get a wood. Everything's kind of in plastic type material, even when it looks historically correct. So I just wanted to make it clear the material's glass and wood.
It is glass and wood, and they're incredibly expensive that way. And
I know.
A good warranty or anything, but that is the way they are. Yes.
I know. I had to restart Mr. Eggie's heart when I fought to get the wood windows, and everyone thought I was crazy. And yeah, so I feel your pain there. But it is better.
I could go look and then I would answer my own question, but I'll ask you because you probably, maybe there's someone else who'd like to know. Is there some sort of a grate that goes over the top of this on the outside?
As far as the window well goes?
Yeah.
It's shallow enough that it wouldn't be. I think it's only 18 inches, and so the code requires it to be a much deeper well than that to require a grate, and so we would not.
Because it'll protrude out into the yard much farther than a normal window well. I think it will be protruding out there. my daughter just recently installed one in her home, and I haven't walked around to the backside to see what it looks like from the outside. I'm looking at it from the inside, and I just didn't wonder what kept the cat or the dog or even a prowler from falling in that hole.
Yeah, well, we don't care if the prowlers do. But no, it's actually, the well will remain within the flower bed area, so it won't come out to the yard at all.
It isn't anything going to concern me because I don't go there. My cat won't go that far. So, all right. If we have no further questions of David, I will close the public hearing, and we as commissioners will debate this application and render a decision. So the public hearing, best I can say, is closed, and we're on with this commissioner. So one of you people tonight maybe ought to make a motion. I'm getting kind of wore out making motions. So somebody must be in favor of something or against something or else something.
Are we making a motion to accept this? Is it, we're at that point? I'd like to make
Yes.
a motion to accept this proposal.
So Commissioner Eggy, I did share my screen, so there's a motion there if you'd like to read that. That's a recommendation.
Okie dokie. I move to approve application HLC number 189-21 of David and Kristen Jensen to replace 2 basement windows with egress windows on the west face of their house located at 400 East 8th Street with 4 recommended conditions of approval. Want me to read this whole thing, John? Okay,
Great, that's good.
I'll second that motion.
You did wonderful. Well, thank you.
thanks, Bob.
Okay, we have a motion made. We have a second for that motion. Is there any further discussion upon this application? Hearing none, I'm going to say this time we're going to raise our hand. All in favor of the application, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Where's my hand? Oh, there it is, way over there.
Aye. Wherever my picture is, aye. Doug?
Is there anyone opposed? And I don't think I got any voices left. So I think we must all be approved. So that means that application 189-21 has been passed. And David, good luck. Enjoy the new windows. We've got a couple more pieces of paper that we've got to work our way through, and then we can all go to dinner time.
Thanks, David.
Where is our resolution? There's one of them. There's the other one. Mine. Now, we're going to go with historic resolutions in case anyone else finally finding it on page 59. Our historic resolution number 177-21. And it is for the applicant 188-21. 188-21. Okay, I got it. For Todd Carpenter. I need someone to make a motion with the conditions of approval that if we've added 1, 2, there was 11, now there is 12. So we're up to date and we're ready to go.
I'll move to approve resolution number 177-21, approving application HLC number 188-21 of Todd Carpenter to reconstruct the facade of the Recreation Cafe located at 213 East 2nd Street with the 12 recommended conditions of approval.
I second it.
There we go. Thank you. If there's no further discussion, I'll try to figure out where my hand is. All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
The motion, is there anyone opposed? No. The motion carried. Resolution 177-21 is passed. Now let's go do Klamath work on resolution number 178-21. It's for David and Kristen Jensen. And it was on an application 189-21. Is there any questions that we want to ask before we pass this? We need a motion made.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 189-21, approving application HLC number 189-21 of David and Kristen Jensen to replace 2 basement windows with egress windows on the west face of their house located at 400 East 8th Street with the 4 recommended conditions of approval.
I second the motion.
Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Pass the resolution. All in resolution 178-21. All in favor, raise your right hand or raise your hand to get on screen.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. This resolution has passed. Now, we're down to the point where hey, you guys are back. You was lost for a while. I'm glad to see you back on screen. The only thing that I haven't seen on my agenda is when do we meet again, if ever? They might not want us back.
So we do have a meeting scheduled for July 28th. And at this time, we do have one application. We have the Clock Tower Ales will be doing some modifications, and I believe we will have a second application. So plan on getting together. Will be via Zoom. We have the city council or city has decided that we will not be having in-person public meetings until September. So we may be getting those back in person in September. So meanwhile, we'll just keep doing this, and I don't know, we're gonna all get used to it, and then you guys are gonna get back to in person and not know what to do. So
No, we'll know what to do.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so we do have a meeting scheduled for the 28th.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that, but the council didn't confer with me, and I do have some hearing problems with our Zoom program that you've undoubtedly observed. So the sooner we can quit Zooming and get into personal where I can look at you and maybe even read your lips, it will be much appreciated by me. So I thank all of you and whoever else is. Julie, have you been out there? I see your name, but I don't hear anything. We missed you.
I'm there.
You are here. And we didn't call upon you earlier.
Okay.
Anyhow, it's good to know you are here, Julie, and we're looking forward to meeting you in person. September.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
September, you didn't say August, you said September.
In person, yes, it won't be until September at the soonest.
We got July and August.
Yeah, and that's not guaranteed. So just that's kind of what we're looking at. We're anticipating.
Well, thank you all, and I'm going to go have something liquid. I appreciate it all. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye. Is that it? Al?